What's up guys, I'm Nico of CAMCRUNCH, and today I thought I'd do a video overview of the Leica M3. Sort of talk a little bit about the Leica M3 and give you a tour around the body. Since I'm only going to be talking about the Leica M3 in this video, I'm going to just take off my lens right now because this lens is really heavy. So the Leica M3 was Leica's first M camera, and there were many new technologies introduced with the Leica M camera. The main one being the unification of the viewfinder and the rangefinder window into one. Rather than having to focus on one window and then compose in another, you can do both in the viewfinder window. So that's the main new technology that was introduced. You also have the M bayonet mount, which is why they get the M camera name. They named the bayonet the M mount. The M mount basically, and the difference between this is that rather than having to screw on the lens that was, the system in the previous Leicas, you have this bayonet mount, which easily allows you to interchange lenses, because before you actually just had to screw in the lens. And I guess this was just a more efficient system to use. The M3 is a camera made out of brass, and it does have a chrome plating. Depending on the model that you get, this is the chrome version, so it has that chrome plating. But there is the black paint version, which was a very uncommon camera even at that time. So if you see one that is an original black paint like M3, then you have a very rare camera in your hands. This was one of it was the most produced Leica camera, the most produced Leica M camera. They sold a bunch of these, and for a good reason. It was a breakthrough piece of technology. So the Leica M3 again was the first one, and there were two versions. There was the single stroke and the dual stroke, and as I just demonstrated, this is the dual stroke, meaning I had to advance this lever twice before I could take a shot. With a single stroke, which was introduced later, you only had to do it once. Cosmetic difference between the single stroke and the dual stroke is the lugs. If you see, this one is not completely rounded, and it has this thing here in the bottom, and this is what they call the Buddha ear type lug, because I guess it resembles the Buddha ear with the earlobe and such. But that's basically it in terms of cosmetic differences between the Leica M3 single stroke and the Leica M3 dual stroke. So let's just go through the body. You see a bunch of levers in the front, and this first one on top, is the rewind lever. Every time you want to rewind your film after you're done shooting it, which you do with this thing right here, you have to click that down, otherwise it will not rewind. You have this, which is the self-timer. So you advance the camera, and then you click this button, and it does that until it takes a shot. And there it goes. Over here, you have the lens release system, which I showed a while ago. When you put on a lens, you want to align these red dots. You have a red dot over here, and you have a red dot. You align them, you clip it into place, and to release, you just click that button over here. Now this lever over here is the frame line selection lever. Whenever you put a lens on, the camera knows what focal length it is, and it will bring up frame lines in your viewfinder, depending on if it has those frame line lines. I mean the frame lines for that focal length. So when you put this 50 on, this snaps to the middle because it brings up the 50mm frame lines. If you move it to the left or to the right, if you force it, it brings up other frame lines. But those won't be the frame lines for the lens that you chose. But you can use it as a preview anyway. Now on the bottom, you have your base plate, which holds your film. This is something unique about the Leica. And I won't be loading any film in this particular video because I have the quick load kit, which not everyone has. But I will be making a video for that. Now on the back, you have your door, and you have this, which is your ISO dial. And with the M3, you don't have a built-in meter, so it doesn't really do anything. It just sort of lets you know what your ISO is, your film speed is. You have two sync ports. This isn't your regular PC sync port, so you will need an adapter to use your regular PC sync port with that. And you have your viewfinder window, which again is a combination of the viewfinder and the rangefinder, which was introduced with the M3. The M3 has frame lines for three focal lengths. It has 50 millimeters, 90 millimeters, and 135. So those are the only three focal lengths where you will get proper frame lines with this camera. The M2 was later introduced, which was a cheaper version of the M3, but it did have 35 millimeter frame lines. And, you know, a lot of people like 35. So if you want to shoot 35, then you should definitely go with the M2 or, you know, a later camera. On the top, you have your Leica engraving. You have your M3 and serial number. You have, again, your rewind knob. You have your your shutter speed knob, which goes from bulb all the way up to 1/1000th of a second. And the flash syncs at 1/50th of a second, which is here, indicated by a little thunderbolt. Again, you have your shutter and your film advance, and you have your frame line counter. So that's basically it for the Leica M3. Again, this is just an overview. This is definitely not a full review. I will have to use this camera a little bit more to give you an in-depth review, but I should be doing that in the next few months. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video, you know, helpful. If you guys are going to buy an M3, or someone gave you an M3, or you're just curious about the M3, I hope you like this video, and I hope you like this video, favorite this video, and share this video with, you know, your friends and stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.